There's a renewed energy to Codemasters at the moment, with the Dirt series enjoying a resurgence and the F1 series now starting to flourish on this current generation of console. F1 2017 is the third game on PS4 and Xbox One, and while you might be expecting Codies to settle into a groove, they are doing anything but. So here's 7 notable changes in F1 2017. Number 1. The classic cars are back. You'd have had to have been actively ignoring the F1 2017 marketing campaign to miss this one, with a dozen classic F1 cars in the game. They span the late 80s right through to 2010, split into 2 different speed classes on either side of the turn of the century, and there are some really iconic vehicles to drive. Unfortunately, the 1988 McLaren MP44 is a pre-order bonus, but it will eventually be available separately, so 11 cars for everyone and 1 down the line. What's even better is that they've been fully integrated into the career mode, which we'll talk about a bit more in a moment. Number 2. Female driver avatars. This is a really simple addition in the modern day and age, but you can now pick from a handful of female avatars when creating your career's persona. There's not as many as there are men with beards, for example, but it is a nice and inclusive decision regardless. Number 3. The expanded tech tree. F1 2016 made practice sessions worth taking part in with a series of track learning challenges which could then feed into developing the car. It's the R&D that has been absolutely exploded in F1 2017 though, with 115 distinct things to research, each making an incremental improvement to your car, or so you'd hope. Because sometimes research will come back and not have had the desired effect, forcing you to either choose a different path or to tell the factory to run it again and hope for an improvement. You can, however, invest money in quality control to try and make sure that doesn't happen. Number 4. Reliability. One of the biggest problems that has faced teams in F1 across the ages is reliability, and it is now in this game as well. Every lap that you run and how you run it will wear down the various parts of the power unit and the gearbox, and you only have so many of these that you can run in a season before you start getting penalties. You can play it carefully and switch out parts depending on the track you're racing. You can also drive in a slightly more cautious manner, or alternatively you can invest points in improving the reliability in the R&D tree. Number 5. Invitational Events. This is where the classic cars come back into play, as some guy with a lot of connections invites you to take part in a handful of invitational events throughout the season, putting you into classic cars for a variety of different races. For example, there's pursuit challenges, overtake challenges and time trials, offering up a fun little diversion from the main career progression. Number 6 is sprint circuits. One of the interesting additions in F1 2017 because of these invitational events is that there are now sprint circuits. There's one each for Silverstone, Suzuka, the Circuit of the Americas and Bahrain. And admittedly that doesn't seem like many, but it just means that you can expect Codemasters to expand on this side of the game in the future, hopefully delving into historic track layouts at the same time. Number 7 is mini championships. If you're done with the career or you need to take a break, the last thing that you want to do is have just a full 2017 championship to do with the interesting bits of R&D, invitationals and other sides of things removed from it. So Codies have added in a bunch of other championships as well. They might again put you into classic cars, they could mix up the race weekend so there's a sprint and a long race, you could be awarded points for qualifying, and they could be themed across wet weather races and so on. They make for a much better diversion than what we've had in recent years. We wanted to highlight these 7 things, but there's a lot more going on in F1 2017 than just so points. There are tons and tons of other changes to the game along the way, so there's more layers and power behind the force feedback on the wheel, for example, to the point that I'm actually considering turning it down on the Fanatec CSL wheel that I'm using. You've got an even higher difficulty level for those masochists who think they're fast enough. There's weather patterns which are less predictable now. You've got a manual pit limiter and can manually accelerate from a pit stop as well. There's spectator mode in multiplayer to cater to the esports crowd, and there's even Monaco night races for some bizarre experimental reason. Hopefully you've enjoyed our little list anyway, and you can catch our verdict on the game over on the6thAxis.com right now. Obviously, like, share and subscribe to your heart's content if you have liked this video, and hopefully you will join us again soon. Cheerio!